This drink, I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
What is going on, everybody? Tom Chattelbash. No, the fuck am I'm doing a video now.
Tom Chattelbash here, YouTube's most reliable film
Jesus.
critic.
Let
I
me
think
wake
we should
up.
just keep that in. Let's just keep it.
Jesus Christ.
Tom is half asleep.
I'm so half asleep right now. Thank God I have coffee. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Film on Tap, where we've got the tap that never runs out. As always, I am joined by my wonderful co-hosts, Nancy and Andres, who are far more awake than I am. How are you guys doing today?
Definitely more awake than you.
Yeah.
My third cup of coffee.
Jesus.
Third cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to
Jesus, not
say
even-
that's a lot
I
for
had-
10 a.m., but forgot it's
Nope.
not 10 a.m. there.
Yeah, no, I had one at 7, and then I had one at 11, and now I have one at 1.
Why'd you wake up at 7 on a Saturday?
Yeah, what's going on, dude? You okay?
Work.
Did you
Yikes.
not work from... Don't you do not home stuff now? What am I trying to say?
Have you forgotten what the English language is?
No. I do some occasional work from home stuff because the
gotcha.
semester is happening and the practicums and so on and so forth.
Gotcha,
and redacted.
Very fun. How about you,
You heard
Nancy?
nothing. That's what Andres is saying. You heard nothing.
You have heard nothing.
Pretty good. Work's busy. We're gonna go to a museum today. Fun fact, I don't think I've ever been to a museum before.
What?
Which is crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. Check that
Like
off the bucket list.
maybe one when I was like really young. I don't really remember. I did go to the Museum of Tolerance, but that's like a completely that's not like a casual walk around museum.
No,
So.
not quite.
You just
Different
end up
experience.
blurting. You just end up blurting so many new swear words and slurs. It's like what? Like if you've ever seen that episode of South Park, that's exactly what it's like.
I don't remember it that way. I was in high school when I went, so it's been a bit, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, see,
I'll let you know when I plan to revisit soon, so I'll let you know what the experience is.
But you're going to a museum, so that's exciting.
Yes. Today I'm going to
Mhm.
museum, which is kind of cool. Next month they're actually doing an exhibit from Yoko Ono, so I really want to go back and see that, what that's going to be about.
Awesome.
I wanted to see how long the silence would go for.
I was like, you, Tom, still have asleep?
Now, for viewers or listeners before the show, we said, okay, yeah, we're going to hop on at, 1 Eastern time. And I was like, okay, great. And it's a little bit gloomy over here in New York. So I went to go check my phone thinking it was maybe 9 or 10 a.m. and it was 12:42. So I had about 15 minutes to get ready for this. Hence the bedhead hair and the, of course, cup of coffee. So I am still waking up as we speak, but I am in good spirits. It's been, hopefully today I'll be able to relax a little bit. Very busy week, but exciting stuff. But today, speaking of exciting stuff, we've got a jam-packed show full of trailers. And of course, we're going to be talking about the big event, the big movie event of the week, which is the new Michael Jackson movie, Michael. So strap on in, but we're going to be jumping into some trailers first. We're probably going to be tackling the really big teaser that, came out this week first, which is for DC's Clayface movie, which is, of course, based on that comic book character that honestly has never really gotten his day in the sun, and finally he gets his own solo film here. It's looking more so like a body horror film more than what was that?
Ooh, is Brody okay?
that's Brody.
Oh,
Sorry,
man.
guys.
Okay.
Sure you don't need to
Just
check
making
on
sure
him?
he's okay.
No,
Sure he's good?
Brody will occasionally bark whenever someone's coming up the stairs.
Or maybe
Like,
he's
That
really
was a
amped for
bark?
Clayface.
That's about a howl.
Jeez. But yeah, so they DC released the first teaser for the movie, which hits theaters in October, which I think is perfect. So what did we think about this teaser? Let's start with you, Nancy. Do you have any background with Clayface, or this is like your first introduction?
I have no background with Clayface. I think
Got it.
wasn't he in the Batman animated series?
yes, he
briefly?
was.
Yes.
Okay. I was like, I kind of vaguely remember an animated version of him, but other than that, I really don't remember any storyline, anything other than he has a clay face. So this,
Wow.
nothing on him. I think this is a really, really good teaser trailer. I think it's going to get people drawn in, especially casual fans like me, who I don't really know the background of the character or have read the comics or anything. Visually, it looks really, really good. I am curious to see a full length trailer because in this teaser trailer, they're cutting away and doing a lot of flashing when he's going from like his normal face to Clayface. And so I'm very curious how it's looking when he is kind of like moving his face without any of those cuts. But so far, it looks really, really good. And I feel like he isn't a big character in the sense of, again, if you have a casual fan like me, you're not going to know a lot about him. So I feel like they have a big opportunity here to bring him in. And really, all they have to do is not fuck up the plot. Like, you really just have to have a decent plot because the visuals and how he looks is so cool and interesting. So I am really looking forward to this one. I think the full length trailer is going to move me from like, I'm intrigued to possibly excited about this movie. So we'll see.
All right, we have a casual fan who's leaning towards seeing the film. We like that. We like that. How about you, Andres?
For me, I'm a huge fan of DC, and I'm a huge fan of the Batman Rogues Gallery in particular. And Clayface is one of those characters I feel has never gotten his true flowers and his true just respect in terms of what he brings to the DC universe in terms of the theme of stolen identity and the theme of losing your identity. And he's a character that sort of plays more better in today's modern day and age with the rise of AI and all that other stuff and deepfakes. But the fact that they are still going down the road of keeping it in the classic Clayface realm and bringing that spectacular element to the DC universe, it's very exciting. But also on top of that, just the mere fact that this is a DC movie unlike anything we've seen previously, just from the tone, from the trailer, and also from the imagery, and just knowing that Mike Flanagan, star power in himself in terms of just writing, directing, and in terms of his contributions to horror, he directed and wrote Dr. Sleep, among other really great things as well, too. Hush is a very underrated movie. And just the fact that he wrote the script for this, and he also himself said that he is leaning more on inspiration from Feet of Clay, which is the 2-part animated series, the Batman animated series episodes that introduced Clayface in this new, in the same way that Clayface was, in the same way that Mr. Freeze himself was redone and sort of just kind of shown, hey, you can tell really great stories with this character. I feel that that was what Clayface had been with the animated series as well. And just seeing everything from this trailer and seeing the vibe and seeing the mood, especially, this is a true teaser and it gives nothing away whatsoever, but you get this vibe and you get the sense. And that is unlike anything else I've seen in DC. And that gets me really freaking excited. So this is honestly, it's one of my most anticipated movies I've seen. But it's one of my most anticipated. So I'm definitely looking forward to this.
So yeah, I am definitely on the same boat with you, Andres. I mean, I love the character of Clayface. You know, it's a little bit sad that at this point, the best version of Clayface is in like the Harley Quinn show, the animated show on HBO Max, which it's like I had to shake that version of the character off. But I mean, this trailer does a great job doing that just in the opening shot alone, which is one of the most haunting opening shots to any trailer I've seen in recent memory, with him just like staring at the camera and those bandages, just so eerie. But the tone and the visual aesthetic of this trailer is so amazing. I mean, it looks beautiful. I guarantee there's going to be a lot of comparisons drawn to Joker in terms of how serious it's taking the character and how dark it's taking the character. But I feel like it's definitely establishing the fact that it's very much its own thing. And with Mike Flanagan, you know, the man behind Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor, Dr. Sleep, Life of Chuck. I mean, the list goes on. The guy is just a horror maestro at this point. I feel like he's such an inspired choice to write a Clayface story, and I think he's going to do it justice. I mean, I'm already looking forward to the beautiful monologues that I'm sure are going to be in this freaking movie, and I can't wait. And I just think visually it looks stunning, especially that one beautiful shot in like the alleyway and shadows where you see Clayface like using, you know, his clay as a weapon, and just chef's kiss to that shot. But I think this is going to be fantastic, and I cannot wait for it. It's a great teaser, but definitely looking forward to seeing a full-length trailer to see how they sell this character study / body horror film. I am so in. So October can't come soon enough, folks. But now, shifting gears to something a little goofier, maybe a little bit more fun. We're going to be talking about Street Fighter, which is also hitting theaters this year. We got our big full-length trailer for the movie here. Of course, it's based on the popular video game series. We got our trailer a little while back, but this is more of a full-length trailer here. So with this bigger peek of the film, let's talk to you guys. You guys have played the games far more than I have, so I'm more of a casual fan. Nancy was a casual fan of Clayface. I'm definitely more so a casual fan of Street Fighter. So let's see what you guys thought of this trailer. Let's start with you, Andres. What did you think of this new trailer for Street Fighter?
Yeah, with this new trailer for Street Fighter, I mean, that first original teaser gave us exactly the mood and the vibe that we wanted to get with something like this. And already the production value is a lot higher than any of the other Street Fighter movies that have been released so far. But I will say this is probably the first time that we've seen in a live action capacity a director truly understanding that this is sort of the more zany version of the fighters, and this is something where it feels the most comic booky and it feels the most anime-ish out of all the other fighting movie properties or anything of that matter. And I just love the fact that they're fully embracing the zaniness and the weirdness of it, down to freaking Jason Momoa as Blanca and down to freaking Guile's hair, and just knowing we get enough of the fact that there's a tournament happening and that M. Bison is kind of picking people off in the same way that Shang Tsung did in Mortal Kombat. And I think that's a really interesting take in terms of this movie in particular. But I will say, it looks cartoony as hell. It looks zany as hell, but I'm kind of sold on the concept. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think fighting game fans are going to eat pretty well this year because we got this, and then we got Mortal Kombat coming out very soon, actually. So I'm actually very on board with this. It could go either way, but I know I'm going to have a good time.
How about you, Nancy?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I'm definitely going to see it because it's Street Fighter, but I feel like from what I've seen, it's such at a tipping point right now. Like, it could either go way wrong or really, really well, because especially with the first movie, like, I love the first movie, and it really isn't much better in terms of like the zaniness that we're getting here. So if they can capture that in a way that it doesn't just fall flat, I think it'll be okay. All the characters that we're seeing, they're very much like that is what you see in the games, which I really do like. I still don't know how I feel about Jason Momoa being in this. I don't know. He kind of always just comes off as Jason Momoa, so we'll see. But I don't know. I'm just really on the fence about this one still. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was very interesting that we have two projects now that are coming out this year that Jason Momoa has just kind of rung the director and just go, listen, I want to be in this. Let me play Blanca. Like, Eric Andre had basically told the story where essentially he was cast as Blanca originally. And then the second that the news leaked out that they were making a Street Fighter movie, apparently Jason Momoa had called the director and said, get me in there as Blanca. And then the director's like, listen, Eric, I know we got you as Blanca originally, but it's Jason Momoa, man. You know, we got to have him in the movie. And then they gave him a brand new role in the canon, but technically in the canon, he plays the ring announcer. So the guy who's like, you lose. And I'm like, yeah, that's going to be very interesting, but who knows? But I do find it funny that Jason Momoa is kind of shoehorned his way into two properties this year, also with Supergirl just being like, Lobo, come on, get me in there.
I mean, I guess that's the way to do it nowadays. Freaking,
he's got that clout.
Yeah. Well, even Donald Glover be like, make me Yoshi. Like,
yeah, it's been happening a lot. It's like I love this character. Make me this character. Okay. It's like, wow.
The director's like, sure. But yeah, I think the other thing I have an issue with is that there's a lot of WWE stars in this, and it's reading as a WWE movie and not necessarily in the greatest way. And I know how WWE is also with like a lot of the wrestlers and properties. They tend to get their hands in it a lot. So I'm just hoping it's not going to go that way.
too.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a very, very casual Street Fighter fan. I played the games a little bit growing up, but like I'm not this massive fan. But I do love silly action movies. I like, especially if they're done right. They don't take themselves too seriously. They kind of lean into the zaniness, which I feel like from these trailers, this one definitely is. It's definitely not taking itself too seriously. It's definitely trying to embrace the zaniness of the games and of the source material. So I like it for that. Which is why, you know, even though I'm not a gigantic Mortal Kombat fan either, I feel like both of these movies coming out, like they both seem like they're actually going for being silly and being just kind of more zany, which I'm all for. So I'm looking forward to this one. I mean, goofy hair and all, and weird character designs and all. Like I'm in, and I think that this could be a good time at the movies. So we'll see what happens when this movie hits theaters. I definitely feel like it could go either way, like Nancy said. So we'll see. We'll definitely see what happens with this one. But I feel like out of all the movies that we're covering today, I feel like the one that I'm looking forward to the most is the next trailer that we're going to be talking about, which is Coyote Vs Acme. Because honestly, like I have been waiting to see footage from this movie for so long. In case you're not aware, if you're watching or listening to this episode, Coyote Vs Acme is a movie that Warner Brothers was originally going to come out with, but they decided we're going to shelve it and we're going to use it as a tax write-off, which, you know, it went through Hollywood and everyone was just furious about it. And somehow, some way, miracle has happened. And this movie is actually going to be hitting theaters this summer. And this is our first trailer, which I think even plays into the fact that it was going to be used as a tax write-off. And this is our first bit of footage. And I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait for this movie. I think it looks fantastic. But what about you? Let's start with you, Nancy.
So I'm curious, do you think that adds to the excitement for you in terms of like this is the little movie that could, you know,
hell
little
yeah.
engine that
I love
could?
a good underdog. Love a good underdog.
Yes. Okay. I agree a little bit. I like that too. I remember very vividly growing up watching these cartoons. There was a chunk in time in Nickelodeon where they would just run the Looney Tunes for like, I think it was like 3 hours straight. So it's funny too, because I actually really hated watching the Looney Tunes. I thought they were so boring at first. And my brother just made me watch them because we're like, there's nothing else on. And I started falling in love with these characters, and especially, you know, Roadrunner and Coyote. And I remember this whole episode too, where he's like friends with the sheepdog. And anyways, so yeah, I think this is a really cool twist on it. I love that he's like suing Acme and, you know, wanting to like, you know, to take him to court because all these things have malfunctioned on him and haven't allowed him to capture the Roadrunner in essence. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I will say it's a little jarring now for me, especially growing up with those cartoons and seeing the older versions of how the animation is now, because of like now it's computer animated. And so I think that portion of it, I do have to get used to it, but it still looks good. I am looking forward to this one.
Very nice. Very nice. How about you, Andres?
I am very excited to see this. I mean, again, when they were testing it a while back, all I just heard was just nothing but overwhelmingly positive things coming out of there. And like the kids loved it, the adults loved it. So it was really weird that all of a sudden Warner Brothers just said, we're shelving this entirely. I think it more has to do with the fact that the Looney Tunes themselves is something that Warner Brothers is kind of steering away from, which I have no clue why they would even do so. In fact, that's another topic for another day. But having seen a little bit of this in the teaser, and honestly, I'm just so freaking excited for this movie. It's, as a massive fan of the Looney Tunes and also as a massive fan of Space Jam and Looney Tunes Back in Action from when both of those came out way back when in the day. I mean, honestly, it's ticking the boxes entirely for me. And it's something that is so subtle and yet genius in concept of, like, you know, the Coyote freaking suing Acme because finally it's just like, you know what, F it, let's just sue them. And I thought this was such a great idea, and I am really looking forward to seeing what they have and what they have planned, and also just what they're going to do with this entire concept in terms of the fact that we have John Cena playing the rival lawyer, and then also we have Foghorn Leghorn as the villain in this, and I thought it was great. So honestly, I'm really stoked for this. I will just say one thing. If this movie doesn't succeed, it'll all be for nothing, guys. So go get your ass to the movie and see it right now.
Yeah,
Don't
definitely.
let it come back for nothing.
Seriously, like that would be the ultimate heartbreak is if this movie comes out and no one sees it, and then like Warner Brothers like, see, we should have shelved it. You know, like just like, I want this movie to be successful, mainly because it looks so good. It's
I
definitely
forgot
going to
about the Foghorn Leghorn as being the villain. I think that's so smart. I love it.
I mean, I think that plays into our interactions very much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like
it's gonna be bad.
Oh yeah, no, like honestly, the funniest thing as well too is that my niece Elise,
my niece Elise.
Get right.
Sorry, I am 5.
Yes, you are 5. but she was at the wedding too. So she was the flower girl at our wedding. So yeah, little inside baseball. But it's one of those things where I was slowly starting to show her some Looney Tunes stuff here and there, because, you know, after a little bit of Bluey and stuff like that, it's just like, you know, sometimes you want to show the kids
violence?
the violence and the greatest hits.
You want to show them the violence.
Yeah. But here's the thing. She's not the biggest fan of some of the other characters, but she absolutely loves Coyote and Roadrunner. And also the other thing too is I started just play teasing with her using the Foghorn voice, like I say what do you think you're trying to do here? so just the mere fact that he is the villain, and it's a combination of just all the things that she loves. It's something where I'm like, I can't wait to take my niece to go see this movie as well, which also plays into the fact of, like, you know, people go, well, who is this movie really for? It's like, it's going to be for kids. It's going to be for our generation, but it's another way for us to sort of...
I'm saying a new generation. You're bringing a new generation into the Looney Tunes, because they don't run them anymore on TV.
No,
whereas, like, with us, you know, Nickelodeon, like I said, they had that huge chunk of time where they were just running it for hours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, was the last Looney Tunes movie we got the one with Brendan Fraser?
No, there was a one that came out maybe like a year or two ago. I forget what it was called, but I think it was an animated movie.
Yeah,
okay.
It was.
And it was good.
Yeah, live action. It was the Brendan Fraser.
I love back in action. This is giving me back in action vibes for sure, and I'm loving it. I mean, I remember watching it as a little kid, the Coyote vs Acme skits, and I kept thinking. I remember even as a little kid, I was like, he should find another supplier. just like these things suck. Whatever he's getting, like they always malfunction and backfire. Like poor guy. So I think this is such like an inspired story, and I feel like it's just like there's so much boundless potential for comedy here, and Will Forte being in it, I think, is a great choice. John Cena being like the head of Acme is perfect. Like it looks so good to me. I can't wait to see this one, and I think it actually looks pretty visually stunning for the most part. So like I'm very much looking forward to this one. Absolutely going to support it in theaters. I want this movie to do well, so Warner Brothers knows that they had something special on their hands that they kind of fumbled. So I'm really looking forward to this movie. So, yeah. But now we have to shift gears to a movie that has caused, how do I phrase this? Controversy? to say the least, which I don't think shocks anyone. The discourse surrounding this film, now that it's out there, has been exhausting to say the least. But thankfully, we're just here to review the movie, folks. And we're going to be talking about our general thoughts and spoiler-filled thoughts about Michael, the new Michael Jackson biopic starring Jafar Jackson as Michael Jackson. So if you have not seen the movie yet and you don't want to be spoiled, you're definitely going to want to refrain from listening to or watching the rest of this episode. But if you have seen the movie, stick around. There's going to be a spoiler-heavy discussion. We're going to dive deep into this film, into this biopic. So let's start with our general thoughts first, and then we'll dive into some spoiler territory. Let's start with you, Nancy. What's your background with Michael Jackson? Were you looking forward to this movie? And generally, what did you think of this biopic of Michael Jackson?
Spoiler, he becomes famous.
No way.
No, I definitely was a huge Michael Jackson fan growing up. I've seen the Moonwalker movie. An embarrassingly big number of times. I've seen it so many times.
Yes.
Yeah, and grew up on the music. I've watched a lot of documentaries on their family. I think there was a I want to say made for TV movie that was a biopic that came out that was on TV a lot. So I watched that one a
Yes.
ton of time as well.
You're talking about the
So
Jackson 5 movie, right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I guess I know a lot through that and through watching a lot of interviews and stuff. So I was really excited for this movie. In general, I think if you are a Michael Jackson fan and like really love his music, you're going to enjoy this. But to me, that was kind of the problem, is that that's really all it was, is that you're jumping from um, year to year on these like music milestones, but we're not getting really a lot of anything else. Um, so just entertainment wise, it was fun. Like even the opening, like seeing his production company again, I'm having flashbacks of like seeing that so many times before Moonwalker, and I hadn't seen it in a really, really long time. So overall, it was fun. I just wanted more. Um, and I will say, shout out to hair and makeup. The transition with his look was done so seamlessly. And I was a little worried it was going to be kind of jarring when they're, moving from one look to another. But they did really well with it. And Jafar Jackson was just fantastic. Like he did such a good job with this. And Coleman Domingo as well. I really liked him in this movie. I mean, as far as his acting, obviously his character in Joe Jackson is kind of an asshole, an abusive asshole, an abusive asshole. So he played that well. But yeah, overall, I was pretty underwhelmed by this movie.
Okay, how about you, Andres?
Yeah, I'm a big Michael Jackson fan as well too. I mean, barring all the controversies and all that other stuff as well, you can't deny that the music is truly, truly something special and truly something that I don't think we're ever going to get again, in the same way that Miles Teller says in this movie. I don't think there's been anybody like you. I don't think there's going to be anybody like you either.
Did he say that? I think I was too distracted by his makeup.
And how smooth he was and how long his hair was too, right?
No, like, you know what the funny part was? As soon as he came on screen, literally you just heard like almost everyone in the theater go, woof.
Woof.
He definitely looked like he was training to be in like a wrestling movie. It was weird. I was like, I don't know what's happening.
It was the wig, man. The wig was doing him no favors.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Anyway, go on.
No, but yeah, like Nancy, I'm a big fan of some of the TV movies that have been made about the Jacksons in particular. The Jacksons, An American Dream. That was a 6-hour made for TV movie that was spread between 2 nights. I remember seeing that on VH1 so many times, and then even going down the line of like, I have seen his Martin Bashir interview as well too, which that is fascinating and disturbing all at once. And then even the Man in the Mirror movie.
Man on the Mirror.
On the Mirror.
On the Mirror.
Now imagine it's Michael Jackson just like dancing on a little mirror.
The Man on the Mirror.
So going into this and knowing all the history behind it, and just knowing that it's also the same producers of Bohemian Rhapsody. And I kind of felt that Bohemian Rhapsody did a little bit of a disservice to Freddie in terms of just his overall legacy, and in terms of just, he was debaucherous, and he was like a big part of who he was how crazy he was at certain points. And to kind of, file that down for a PG-13 audience kind of felt like you lost a little bit of his voice. However, I will say that this movie does a better job at capturing Michael Jackson's voice and what he wanted to say as a person, as a whole. But I don't believe that, even with Jafar Jackson's performance, and he is stellar in this movie. And also shout out to the kid who plays Little Michael as well too. Like the two pivotal roles, they absolutely knocked it out of the park with. There was never a single moment that I questioned whether or not this kid and this adult is Michael Jackson. It felt like the closest thing you could ever see to having Michael Jackson be resurrected. And it is uncanny at points. But I will say the performances are fantastic, but I kind of feel that the movie, if you know history as well too, like certain omissions here and there and certain rejiggerings of the timeline in terms of like when certain things happened that didn't necessarily feel like it was a much better story to move this part to the end and move this part to the beginning. And also just the exclusion of Janet Jackson as well too, which if anybody knows how big of a role she played in Michael's life.
Yeah, she didn't want to be in the movie.
She didn't want to be in it.
I mean, she didn't want to be in the movie, but also on top of that, that's one of those things where it's really tough to sort of disassociate with what role she played in his life, and it feels like they lost a really big component. But with the movie,
they tried.
The big thing that they edited out, they can't even talk about. So that was kind of the weird thing as well. But I will say, overall, as a whole, I felt like the movie was lacking in sort of showing us a flawed human being in Michael Jackson, instead of just focusing solely on, just his relationship with his father. It kind of felt like we didn't get much more depth into him as a person or as a character as we have with certain other movies. Like my big movies that the big movies that I feel really showed how vulnerable somebody was. I think Selena is a great example. I think Taron Egerton as Elton John in Rocket Man is fantastic, because what those movies did really right was that they showed that these people are very flawed and that they had something to overcome. Whereas with this one in particular, I kind of felt like there wasn't much of a change in Michael, and I kind of felt like there was so many avenues that they could have gone down in, with the whole body dysmorphia element, that also being plagued by his dad and being like, like being encouraged. Like there's so many things that they didn't delve into, but it kind of feels like, I don't know, it feels like there were certain moments that were missing, or certain things that really would have helped me connect to it emotionally and would have helped the audience connect to it emotionally. But overall, I think it's just a perfectly fine biopic. I really loved the performances, but I think there was a little more that they could have done in terms of adding more elements to that we haven't seen in Michael Jackson's life, in terms of a live action portrayal, or in terms of just in popular culture. And knowing that Antoine Fuqua directed this, and he is someone who, he doesn't pull any punches when it comes to like, his stuff in Training Day and some of his other big movies. And I was kind of surprised at like how kind of just okay the movie was at points. So overall, I thought it was just fine.
It makes sense now that you said Bohemian Rhapsody people did this, because when Mike Myers showed up, I was like, do we need him like in this universe?
The fact that he's been like a powerful executive in 2 music biopics is just strange.
I was like, okay, sure.
Even though I will say I did like him more here. I felt like he actually did give me some laughs.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, look, I agree with a lot of the criticisms that, you guys have given in terms of like the fact that it's a little bit too surface level, that doesn't delve into Michael that the way it absolutely could have. I mean, yes, this movie was kind of like drowning in legalities, and it was definitely kind of hamstringed by a lot of things it couldn't talk about or couldn't delve into. But at the same time, I do feel like there are facets of Michael it could have explored more, like Andre said, his body dysmorphia, or even some other struggles that he was going through, or any sort of other controversies he was dealing with. And a lot of people are like, well, wait for part 2. It's like the fact that you shouldn't have to wait for part 2 for it to get a little bit bold and for it to delve into some darker material. Because I think what it did with Michael's relationship with his father, Joe Jackson, I think the way it delved into that was actually really well done. And I thought that was effective. The fact that they explored that, like the movie had the potential to explore some darker things having to do with Michael's history and his past and his personal relationships. So I was a little bit disappointed it didn't explore more of his, personal life a little bit. But on a whole, though, as someone who also is a gigantic fan of Michael Jackson's music, I mean, you can't deny how iconic and just how amazing his music is. Like, I still had a very good time with this movie. I think this movie is absolutely just made for fans who just want to enjoy his music and just enjoy the life of Michael Jackson celebrated, which is not going to be for everybody. But like, I took my sister, who basically educated me on Michael Jackson's music growing up and is the biggest Michael Jackson fan I know. I took her to a screening of this movie, and she like was unbelievably into this movie. The whole screening was unbelievably into this movie. Like, you could tell this is a crowd pleasing film. It's going to do huge numbers. I mean, I've already seen little clips of screenings that have been happening where like people are dancing in the aisles, people are clapping and cheering. It's basically like a stadium concert essentially. So it's like this movie is going to be insanely successful. But like, I was entertained. I had a good time with it. I think Jafar Jackson is unreal in this movie. Yes. I think Coleman Domingo is just as good, but Jafar Jackson had the unenviable task of trying to portray one of the most iconic music figures of all time. And the fact that he pulled it off so well and so effortlessly was just insane to me. Like, the fact that, you know, someone like, you know, Rami Malek can get nominated for Bohemian Rhapsody, and I'm sure Jafar Jackson will not even get considered at all. Even the fact that he, I think, portrayed this figure better than Rami Malek portrayed Freddie Mercury. I just feel like it's a shame in and of itself. But like, the fact that he was able to, like Andre said, I never for a second did I doubt that this was Michael Jackson, ever. And just that there were just moments where I genuinely thought I was watching Michael Jackson on screen, and it gave me chills. So I enjoyed the movie. It's definitely not perfect. There are things I wish it explored more, but I think it brings a lot of entertainment value to the table. And yeah, so I enjoyed it even despite its flaws. So let's dive into spoilers, people. What did we like? What did we
I will say before we go into spoilers, there was a family that was to the right of us. And afterwards they were all talking about it. And the two little boys that were there, they were dressed up like Michael. And I was like, that's who the movie's for. I was like, you know, I understand it's not like, it's not the best of movies, but I think you're right, Tom. I think it really is just to go and enjoy his music, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it made me happy to see the little kids all dressed up.
It's bringing people a ton of joy. Like, you could tell for fans of Michael's music, like, they're all just eating it up, and like, it's easy to see why.
And the thing is, same thing happened with us as well too. Like, literally when we sat down, there were two kids that were dressed up head to toe in the iconic like sparkling black and white you know, the hat, like his iconic look from the 90s. And like me and Jen, we were just like, oh, they're gonna love this. And then I think it's also just a big thing for the parents of those kids to let them know that what they're going to see something rough, because within about 5 or 10 minutes, there is Coleman Domingo basically beating the crap out of Michael with the belt. And I felt that was that is something, you know, that is something that I wouldn't normally take. If I was a parent, I would not feel comfortable taking my kids to go see something like that right off the bat, unless they understood that was a big part of his life, and that's something that needs to be addressed. So that's one of those things where, like, you know, I think people are walking in going like, oh, well, it's just going to tell his life story. Is like, well, do you know what his life story is, guys? Yeah. Like, you know, like,
well, even like, that is like, I feel like that's also, even that in itself felt watered down, especially from the other like documentaries and biopics that I've seen. Because even they don't explain it here, but like in the other stuff that I've seen, like, he required them to call him Joseph. It wasn't that they just randomly did it. And I'm surprised that they didn't explain that in the movie. Because, you know, they call mom Mother and then him Joseph. And, you know, so even that felt like, I mean, not that I want to see more of that, but it felt like very like, oh, he's just like mean, and then let's move on. So yeah, I think they could have taken their time to go into, you know, those sort of things and how it affected him a little bit more. Yeah, but it definitely made me sad when he opens up his little Peter Pan book and he wrote Joseph next to, you know, Captain Hook. I mean, who knows if that actually happened, but, you know, made me sad.
I mean, I know the Jacksons had a really big part in terms of dictating what is or is not in the movie as well. So who knows? Who knows how much of that is real, and who knows how much of that they had to cut out for, you know, just time, or just even just to get the PG-13 rating. Like, again, someone like Antoine Fuqua, I don't imagine he got the PG-13 rating right off the bat, because even though Michael,
he just said, I just saw like an interview, not to interrupt you because it just directly relates to like what you're saying. he just gave an interview where he said like we had a cut of the movie that was 4 hours and we had to shave it down. And he's like, the studio took the movie away from us like days ago. So like they had like basically like a team of editors working on this movie down to the wire to try to get it done. So like who knows what got deleted. Like I'm very interested like when this movie comes to home video, what deleted scenes maybe that they add on to the disc, because I'd be very interested to see what was cut from this movie, because like Andres was hinting at earlier, like the earlier cut of this movie included a lot of those controversial things in the latter half of Michael's career. And then they found out that they couldn't actually tackle those things for legal reasons. So they had to like basically do all these reshoots and get that stuff out of the movie. So the fact that this movie was able to be completed and able to be as entertaining as it is actually kind of a miracle in and of itself. So like on one hand, I see what people are saying with, okay, it should have delved deeper. It should have gone darker. I understand that. But at the same time, it's like, there's a fine line I think you have to try to draw between being like accurate to what happened and also being entertaining enough where like it doesn't overshadow the whole movie, because you still want his fans to enjoy the movie. It's like, it's an unenviable task. It's a hard position to be in. And I feel like they tried to do their best given the circumstances. And I think on the whole, I think they did a good job with it. So
I think what bothers me though about that whole thing, because I mean, I get it, right? Legally, you can't put something in. You have to go do reshoot. You have to do your best. And I think they did well with what they had. But what bothers me about that is it feels like they're retroactively being like, oh, it's a two-parter. Like,
his story continues. Yeah, he's a fucking Avenger now.
And I was like, okay, well, it feels like they're trying to like make up for that. And you could it feels retroactively a two-part movie. And that's what it like. That threw me off. I didn't really quite like that.
So one big element that I kind of felt that even though it kind of filed down a little bit on the abuse element from Joe to Michael, I kind of felt like there were certain elements that they were missing in terms of building up to certain moments. Like, unless you know his story, the moment where he gets the nose job, like there's the moment where, you know, he reveals it to his dad and you have no context in terms of when his dad sees the nose, he sort of has this look where he's like, oh, you went ahead and did that. Great. But when you know history and when you know what happened to him in his real life, like that was a big point that Joe would constantly berate Michael over the size of his nose and be like, God, your nose is so big. God, like you didn't get that from me. You probably got that from your mom or something like that. And just knowing that that was something that he was dealing with almost on a daily basis when he was performing, had the audience known that, I think that would have connected even more further, and it probably would have hurt a little more without really showing a lot of, you know, without really showing any violence per se, but also showing just how manipulative he can truly be. So I kind of felt like that was a missed opportunity. But I will say, whenever Joe Jackson appeared, the audience always gasped. Like, especially there's the moment where Michael is getting something from the fridge right after he's fired him, and then all of a sudden the fridge closes, and then you see him right there, like literally in unison. My entire eyes like, like they're like, oh my God, he's
him to like beat him. Oh, right, Brody?
Yeah, right. Brody is not a fan of Joe Jackson.
Tell him, Brody.
He doesn't like.
That's what I said. Yeah. I mean, it's very clear that they have a lot of trauma from their father because, you know, most of the siblings are executive producers on this and had a hand in the script. So I feel like that was the main theme of like Joe Jackson bad, Michael good. And like, that's what they went with. And so, yeah, I feel like there could have been a little bit more depth there.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I'm a fan that I'm glad that they actually explored that relationship, though. Like, it wasn't like this thing that they glossed over. Like, they showed quite a bit, you know, Joe being just like really horrible to his children and just being like emotionally manipulative, like gaslighting them a lot. It was just really tough to watch, but like it was necessary to be there. And Coleman Domingo just crushed it. My God, he was so good. I mean, not only is the makeup fantastic, but his performance is like chilling in the movie. But
scary.
I will say, like, the one thing I will say, like, the movie absolutely nailed was like the recreations of a lot of these iconic performances. I mean, if you see some of these side by sides of like the real footage and what Jafar Jackson, this creative team, has done, like, it's so good. Like, just what they were able to accomplish, like, it's just stunning. Like, anytime there was a musical sequence, the audience just like went nuts. Like I said, it felt like a concert film. Like that first scene where like they're filming the like the Beat It film, where Michael's meeting up with the gangs, and like he's just kind of like, and I remember like that was so good. It was so good. Like that scene where he like starts, where like as soon as he starts doing like the dancing, like my whole audience was like, "Whoo!" Like everyone was just like, "Oh, damn, okay." Like it was just like, "Damn, dude!" It's just like you could tell all that practicing, man, all that exhausting work, it paid off.
I thought for a second that when Michael was going to go visit the Crips, that all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, music should bring us all together," and I thought the Bloods were going to come in. They were going to be like, "What the hell is this happening right now?" Like
that happened.
I thought. Oh, I thought he was going to do the what is called the Malibu's Most Wanted.
Oh God.
I will say, like, I don't like a lot in terms of Michael's like history and things that like did happen. Like, there's a lot of things I didn't know, going into the movie. My sister is like basically a Michael Jackson historian, so like I saw that scene and I was like thinking to myself, this couldn't have possibly happened. Like he brought two gangs together and like had a good time, and then my sister was like, yeah, and then my sister was like, no, that actually happened. That's real, and I was like, wow, and I was like,
momentary truth.
Yeah, it's like just shows you the power of Michael Jackson, where he can, have gangs put their differences aside and just have like a great day together. Like that was just incredible. But like I said, the music performances in this movie are just amazing.
And what I do love is that they show the like genius behind Michael, like how really talented he was, not just with singing, like doing all the choreography, how he's talking about the camera when he's doing the Thriller video.
Love and that.
How he's aspiring to be everything, like direct, write it. He wants to be a small film. He wants to do music videos. He wants to tour. And so I think showing that made me appreciate it more, made me appreciate Michael Jackson more in the sense of like he was much more than just a good singer. He had all these other talents. And, I don't know how true it is, but I was like, man, this guy is like the most positive guy I've ever seen. Like even after he gets burned, he's like, yeah, let's go do some good in the world. He gives all the money away, and it's just basically like, I'm very lucky that I'm not burned all over my body. Like let's go enjoy life. Let's go make the best of it. So, regardless if it's true or not, at the very least, it's a very positive message.
Yeah. And especially with that one moment, like, oh my God, like I did not think they were going to go as far as they did, showing the Pepsi fire incident, and just seeing what they did. I was like, oh God, all right, they really showed it to you, because they could have done the thing that every other adaptation has done of that moment, where it's like you see the pyrotechnics and then it cuts to black, but seeing the actual event was pretty harrowing in itself. But then even also seeing what Joe's reaction was to that, where, he's in ICU, he's barely recovering, he almost died. And then the first thing he asks is like, will he be able to tour again? It's like, Joe, I have no, like, even the doctor's like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, I swear to God, if Dr. Robbie from The Pit was there, he'd be like, I just imagine just all the shit he would say at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Which I didn't even realize it was that bad, to be honest. I thought like he had gotten maybe like 2nd-degree burns. He was in hospital for a hot second and then he was fine. Like I didn't realize I had to do all this surgery and stuff. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, like I think it also had like he like in the makeup and all that other stuff, like because it was combustible, and because of the fact that all those chemicals, when they're inhaled, they actually are toxic. So I think it was a lot more like it's one of those things where you hear like, oh, someone's hair was set on fire, and it's like, oh, what did that really mean? And then all of a sudden you're like, then it means this, and you're like, holy crap, we almost came close to losing him at one point. Like that's nuts.
Nancy was like, yep. Jesus, what a reaction. Now, like the fact that it seems like they're doing a part 2, I mean, they're making it pretty clear that they're going for a part 2. Like the thing is, it's like, okay, if they explore the allegations, if they explore those darker things, like, yes, technically there's some other music and albums that they can explore, but like, yes, you can explore those things, but at the same time, it's like, will audiences want to see that? Like that's the main question, where just like, is it going to be too much of a downer for audiences to see? Are they going to embrace it as much as they're going to embrace this one? That's kind of the thing where I'm not sure if they're going to be able to balance that. Like, that is a tough task to do. I mean, obviously, I think there are a lot of people out there clearly with the discourse that's surrounding this movie who want to see those facets explored and not ignored. So I don't know. For me, it's like, if you're going to do a part 2, it's like, justify it. And that's going to be quite an uphill climb.
I feel like it's going to be a lose-lose, to be honest, because even if they do, it's going to be from the lens of his family, and it's going to be a very watered down version. And it's going to be all positive on Michael. And, I mean, I can remember, I'm pretty sure it was for Michael Jackson, right? The lady releasing the doves when each of his, or was that, I'm pretty sure it was Michael Jackson. I'm trying to remember if it was O.J. Simpson or Michael Jackson, but one of them. There's a lady outside the court, releasing doves every time, he got acquitted of, whatever charge.
I think that was Michael.
Okay.
Interesting.
If you go and YouTube it, there were a ton of his fans outside the court, and every time he was proven in court, I guess, that he was innocent or acquitted of a charge, everyone was cheering. So I feel like it's going to be from that vantage point. And I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to be happy with it. And if you do it on the flip side, where it's very truthful and very to what actually happened, you're going to get a lot of people who are just not entertained, or it's going to be too much or too heavy. So it just feels like they kind of put themselves in a corner with this one.
Because I feel like even if they included that in this movie, I feel like people would just be like, okay, well, they covered it, but they didn't give it the attention it deserves. They didn't go deep enough. They didn't portray it in the way that's good enough. So I feel like even if it was in there, critics would still not like this movie, because like Nancy said, this is with heavy involvement from the Jackson estate. So I'm sure they're not going to want him portrayed in a negative light, especially since he was acquitted of these things. So I feel like it's just like you said, it's a lose-lose. I feel like even if they tackle it, they're not going to be happy. And fans probably don't want to see that part of his life. They just want to enjoy his music and his legacy and his life being celebrated. So it's either way, you're going to have people who don't enjoy the movie.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like if they're going to make a second half and using the footage that they did not use for this movie, or some elements of that, the only thing I can think of is just that just seems like a depressing movie to me. I mean, his marriage is falling apart, the birth of his children. I mean, just even the blanket incident in Berlin, that is stuff that I feel like it's just going to be a depressing 2-hour movie. And I feel that all those people who are being viral filmed right now of oh, they're all dancing in the front of the theater. It's they're not going to be doing that if a second movie comes out. And I think, like Nancy said, it is a lose-lose for whoever decides to direct that movie, if it's Fuqua or if it's somebody else. But I kind of feel like I don't know necessarily how the audience is going to take that kind of movie, because if it's too watered down, you lose the story. And if it's, too bright and happy, then it's not true to everything that happened in Michael Jackson's life. So honestly,
it's kind of a shame, because where they left off here, that was the start of the height of his career. That one was when he was starting to be peak Michael Jackson. And also it's a shame that, I mean, obviously I understand why, but Janet Jackson not being involved, because then she has her own music career and they kind of start collaborating towards the end of, his career / life. And so you're not going to get any of that, which is unfortunate. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe just not. Maybe just don't.
I don't know. I feel like this movie's going to make so much money, they're going to have no choice. But I mean, they're already kind of talking about it in interviews, how they're already gearing up for part 2, because I think they know this movie's going to be a gigantic hit. So we'll see.
It's already broken records for the highest grossing biopic on opening night. So I think we're getting that second movie, whether we want it to or not, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. But I think on its own, this first part, like I said, I feel like if you're a fan of his movie, if you're a fan of his music and his career and you want to see that celebrated, I think you're going to really enjoy Michael. If you're looking for something that is more intimate and delves deeper, I feel like you might leave this one disappointed. So it really kind of depends on what you want from your Michael Jackson movie, and that's going to determine whether or not you enjoy this one. So for me, I was kind of somewhere in between, where I wanted to see an intimate portrayal of Michael, and I also wanted to enjoy his music and see his life celebrated. So for me, I think I enjoyed it more so than I was underwhelmed by it. So like I was entertained, but still there were areas I wish that they explored more. So I was still able to have a good time with this movie, like a very good time and be entertained. But of course, there were some things that did leave me wanting more. So ultimately, if I were to give this a rating, I would say I think I would give it like a 3.5 or 4 out of 5. I'm not really sure where I fall at this point. I feel like I've kind of gone back and forth over the past week or so, but I think on the whole, entertainment value wise, I think it brings so much to the table, and I had a really good time watching the movie and just, you know, really kind of basking in the music of Michael Jackson. Seeing Jafar Jackson and Coleman Domingo just crush it in this movie was just worth the price of admission alone. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, even despite its flaws. So that's me. How about you guys?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go 3. It still was fun. It was still entertaining. The acting was phenomenal. Like I said, also hair and makeup, kudos. Like did it very well. Yeah, so I'll go with a 3. 3 pints.
3 points. Andres.
Yeah, I mean, again, as a really big Michael Jackson fan, I feel like the movie has a cheat code built into it, whereas every time they go into those musical elements, it is fantastic. The one-to-one recreations are great. They don't seem overly indulgent like Bohemian Rhapsody did, where it's like the last fucking 20 minutes of the movie is Live Aid. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, why are we doing this live recreation when you could be using that time to build up other things in his life? But I feel that every single moment that was recreated so beautifully to a T and added so much to the narrative. I will say, despite the great performances and despite how fantastic Jafar Jackson was as Michael, and just the scene stealing elements with Coleman Domingo as well too as Joe, I kind of feel that the movie was lacking in just more of the emotional core of who Michael Jackson is, and sort of building up his trauma and building up just how he overcame so much just as an artist, that doesn't just linger only on his father, but in terms of like just everything else all around him, including the Janet Jackson element of everything. So it's one of those things where it didn't anger me as much as Bohemian Rhapsody, but I will say there did feel a little bit wanting in certain elements. So it's right down the middle for me. I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5 pints.
Wow, 2.5 out of 5. Okay. So you got a lot of varied opinions here, folks. So like I said, this is kind of what the discourse of the movie has been. There have been reactions all over the map for this one. So take that as you will, but definitely let us know what you thought of the movie. If you checked it out, if you loved it, hated it, thought it was just okay. Let us know what you thought of the trailers we talked about today. We're definitely curious to hear your thoughts in the comments. And as always, just thank you for tuning in to a brand new episode of our show. And before we head on out, where can the fine people find you guys on the interwebs? We'll start with you, Nancy.
You're muted.
Damn it! I think that's the first time I've done that.
You muted yourself.
Is this COVID?
It's all redacted.
All right. Anyways, find me at PL_Band-Aid, Twitter and Instagram. That's about it. Sometimes over on Cinemojis, always here in the comments.
There you go. Andres?
You can find me as Galaghost on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me on Letterboxd as Galaghost. You can also find me editing this show, and you can also find me editing Cinemojis for our good buddy David Jandoyan. And that's essentially where you can find me now, guys. There is a big episode of Cinemojis that we just taped a couple of days ago, and I'm really excited for people to see that. But in the meantime, you should check out the sibling rivalry episode of Cinemojis starring the one and only here. And yeah, go check that out. So that's where you can find me.
There you go. Let's see. I'm having trouble these days coming up with where I am.
YouTube's most reliable film.
You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram at Tom Chattelbash. You could find me on TikTok at Chattelbash Reviews, and you could find me on Letterboxd at T Chattelbash. It's becoming more difficult. Okay. That's like, well, who am I? What is going on? But yeah, you can find me on those platforms under those names. Appreciate it if you do follow, or if you decide to give those videos a watch. And as always, thank you for tuning into a brand new episode of Film on Tap. Whether you listened to it or you watched it, we appreciate it. And we will see you next time on a brand new episode of Film on Tap, where we've got the tap that never runs out. Take care, folks.
Bye.
I knew you were going to fucking do that.